a recording that was about 60 minutes long that was amazing, but it thoroughly shared how we actually get into the maxes, get on the maxes, and get the most out of the maxes. And he's the perfect person to share it, because when I first talked to him, he told me not only did he get a $1,272 monthly pay raise, you know that number stuck with me if I could get it down to the two, right? But he also went from being in the 700s credit-wise to the 800s. He also cut his debt-free date from 24 years to 7 years. He also got 2 private reserve accounts and was able to show me his land certificate. Does that sound like someone you need to hear from?
Oh, yeah.
And let's not get it confused. He also generates an extra $48,000 a year doing what we do, because last I checked, $100 a day is $3,000 a month. You add a $500 luxury bonus and a $500, what is it called? Presidential bonus. That's $4,000 a month. I teach math, so I know times 12 is 48K. And that's why when we go out, I just be looking at him like, you got it? And so, guys, he is the teacher that teaches the teachers how to teach. This is going to be such a blessed time for you guys that really just want to get through the maxes in record time so that those experts can get to work. Help me bring to this line my sponsor and my little big brother, because he a little bit younger, but he go a little bit wider because he goes and lifts the whole gym. He invites you to the gym. Unless you Lamar, don't go. Just don't. It's embarrassing. Guys, help me bring to the line one of my best friends in life, none other than Executive District Director, Mr. Richard Hardon.
Awesome, man. I'm so excited, except now it's so much pressure to have to train after Chuck and Sean, because those gentlemen not doing an incredible job with sharing, first, what we do, second, how we do it. And now I have the awesome opportunity to talk about how to put the experts to work on your behalf in creating the financial makeover. Now, here's the reality. January 30th is probably the best time of year to talk about a financial makeover, because those New Year's resolutions have been thoroughly abandoned by now. How many of you know people that, said, this is going to be my year, I'm going to get in shape, I'm going to join a gym, and by Martin Luther King Day, they were out of there.
Yep. Right.
Well, it turns out that analogy is really appropriate for a real financial transformation. Meaning if you really decided that you wanted to transform your body, you would change what you eat, change a part of your activity so that you were doing something to build muscle, something to increase flexibility, and something to increase your cardiovascular health. Yes? And the people that are really serious, that get the best results, they hire a professional to help them with that process, whether it's a personal trainer, group fitness instructor, nutritionist. They got a team of people helping them with their body. Well, that's what we have with our Financial Edge membership. We got a nutritionist, a weight trainer, and a group training system where we can all go and build together. But here's the thing that we got to understand. It doesn't happen day one. How many of you know somebody went to the gym, worked out hella hard? Pardon my language. Couldn't move the next day, was sitting on the couch the day after that, and had the diet to go with it. In the morning, whole wheat toast, a half a grapefruit, a cup of milk, and some protein powder. At lunch, chicken breast, zucchini, and one Oreo cookie. Mid-afternoon snack, the rest of the pack of Oreos, ice cream, and some fudge. And by dinner time, they had a whole pizza, a couple of tasty beverages, chicken wings, and a frozen cheesecake right out of the freezer.
Seen that. Done that.
Consistency is the key to the breakthrough. So understand, we're doing something that will make a long-term difference in a short period of time, but it takes the consistency of starting the habit and starting with the vision. So this is the order I'm going to suggest. So think about this in your mind. I'll show you how to do it as we go through this process, but I want to suggest that you start with EquityMax. What I find in business as I've gone through time, is that EquityMax is the place where you can get a day one victory, but most people put it off way too long. How many of you were a little bit slow about doing EquityMax versus the other maxes? Turns out the biggest result, like it's one of those things. My instant pay raise gave me about $1,272. EquityMax gave me $276,000 in 20 years. It's a bigger impact if we start. But I use the analogy of if you start at the gym, you got to get on the scale first. If you want to lose weight, you got to know how much weight you need to lose and over what period of time that you're going to work. And EquityMax does that because it puts us in a position where it lets you know, good, bad, or ugly, what the truth is about how much interest is going to cost you over your life if you stay on the plan that you're staying on now. But not only does it do that, it lets you know what you need to do to reverse the curse. Does that make sense? So I'm going to jump into EquityMax just so that you get a picture of what you need to do. Now, for those of you that are doing this for the first time, understand the things that you need for EquityMax, you definitely have because they send them to you every 30 days. It's called bills. How many you got bills?
One or two.
One or two bills. And what we do is just simply go into not Facebook, but to EquityMax. Let's go over here. Now, suggestion I make is that you make a list of places that you go for running your business on a regular basis. So I've got my MWR Financial, How to Shift Your Income, the calendar, all of those things in one place. So that I don't have to look around and ask what the sites are for things. Oh, by the way, Dr. Ellis, that was the right link that I put in the chat for the launching your business document, correct? Make sure you print it out. Think and put it in ink. Don't just have a document that's available to you and not put yourself in a place where you get the things that you need. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so first, as we get into my services, here's what I want you to understand. Service area alone, MoneyMax, EquityMax, Creditmax. EquityMax is the third one down on the list. If you jump into EquityMax under member access, the first time you get in, there's an interview style questionnaire that literally walks you through one at a time what type of bills you have. Does that make sense? So it says you got mortgage, car note, credit card, etc. Yes? Yeah. Now, I'm going to cheat ahead because I've already filled out the questionnaire the first time. In fact, every time I do something that impacts my debt picture, I come back to it because it gets you to your debt-free lifestyle worksheet. What that is a total of all the bills, what you pay. Because here's what you need. The bill, what type it is, the name of the creditor, your balance, the interest rate you're paying, minimum payment, and actual payment. In this case, for example, I happen to have this strategy where I pay mortgages 1 1/12. That's just me. That means I end up paying 13 payments a year, but I pay more than that, than the escrow, and then the last time that was edited. For each one of the bills, you just want to fill that number in, and it gives you, this was for me, the first time I had a realistic look at all my debts head to head. How many of you had a rude awakening when you first saw what you had borrowed? Once I really totaled up my kids' student loans, I'm gonna tell you, I love them. But it became clear to me that we could have bought 2 or 3 more houses based on how much money we borrowed for college. Right. And Dave Ramsey says that your children's college degrees will not allow you to retire with dignity. So, so here's what you do. After having those things, it calculates a total margin that you have from the way that you're paying, just so that it looks for opportunities to snowball debt quickly. Write that in your notes. It automates and takes the emotion out of your debt snowball. Because if you notice, several of my kids' student loans are about the same value. There's cars, there's credit cards are going away. Every time something gets paid off, that's the number that gets added to your additional margin. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Now, here's our goal. To increase the margin in our lives. Because that's the reality. When I was paycheck to paycheck, it wasn't a margin left. I pay all the bills and there was no money left. Well, now that there is money left, you want to be in a position where the margin that you have goes to calculating your debt payment. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Last step with EquityMax. Once everything is in, you're in position for DebtMax to do an analysis on your behalf. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So if you click over here, so we've gone through the worksheet. Every time something changes or adds, the analysis updates right away. You don't have to wait for anything. You don't have to send anything. Don't be looking for something in email. Go click this button, and when things change, this changes for you. Does that make sense?
It does.
And so going through, first thing it calculates is percent of interest savings for you, gives you a new debt-free date. Now, original debt-free date, based on our creditor's plan, was March of 2045. That's 25 years from now. Now, how many of you understand? I'll be considerably older 25 years from now. With the EquityMax plan, applying the snowball, because of course, by now, I've been doing it for a year. It's amazing. People overestimate what can happen in 30 days, but underestimate what kind of miracles you can make happen in a year. Does that make sense? Because here's what happened. Now, 7 years, $165,000 in interest versus $435. That means that EquityMax will save me $270,000 in interest, and more importantly, take that same money and give me a millionaire date 14 years from now. Come on now. And oh, by the way, if you look at the math, that's on the conservative side, meaning that's based on if we're only getting 3% interest on the money. Does that make sense? If we mess around and we're invested in a private reserve account that averages between 7 and 11, but is doing 12 and 14, the numbers get bigger faster, but we got to get ourselves to the place where we got the margin and have the margin put to work. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then down at the bottom, I think this is my favorite part of EquityMax. I call it the hit list. It identifies, based on your bills, your biggest enemy and who to kill first. I'm sorry. That sounded very aggressive in my language. But how many of you feel like your debtors are, your debts are your enemies? At least where your wealth is concerned, yes?
Yes.
So yeah, they can go. They can actually kick rocks. Debts can kick rocks. So through the process, it looks at what the original interest was, your current rate of payment, time it'll take to pay it off, and gives you that order for how to continue to take the margin, apply it to the balance, and roll your debt up into an automated snowball. Now, here's the most important reason that I want new people to do this as quickly as possible. Confidence. Confidence. When someone I'll let that person volunteer if they want to talk about it. But I know someone personally who had someone ask them, well, are you using the income shifting strategy? What have the experts done for you? And they said, well, I'm still waiting on my MoneyMax. Still, my credit is going up a little bit, but my story isn't like the testimonies on there. And I said, what is your EquityMax telling them? Because now that gives you the opportunity, day one, as a new person, to lovingly, caringly, with joy, tell that person that the experts already put a plan together for me to get me out of debt and become a millionaire on a realistic plan that I can do based on the money I already have. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Now, the follow through with EquityMax is every 30 days, it generates a statement and tells you what you need to pay to be on schedule. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So when you get your money, somebody said, well, where do the statements come? Does it come in email? No, it's right here on the portal. So if you're in your services under EquityMax, right on the left-hand side, you get a monthly statement. Everybody say monthly statement.
Monthly statement.
Monthly statement kicks out about the 25th of the month for the next month. Does that make sense? So
Yes.
for January 22, it said, Richard, you had done some foolishness. Correct it immediately. My wife and I went down to the Dominican Republic and bought a piece of it. They gave us an unreasonable interest rate. Said, pay that off right now. When? Right now. You owe $24.75, pay that off. So what did I do? Paid it off. Now we're going back to the Dominican in 2 months. But now we own where we're going. So that's fun. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So as you make adjustments, your statement will come, and over here on the last column, scheduled payment. That's what you need to pay to be on track with your debt-free plan and your millionaire date. Everybody got it? Say, I got it.
Got it.
Got it.
Now, here's the brilliance. Every 30 days, it's like remembering to go to the gym. Like, how many of you know that when you join a gym, most gyms make you auto pay up front?
Mm-hmm.
They put you on direct debit. You know why?
So they're gonna get theirs if you don't get yours.
They intend to deliver the service that the gym provides. But they know if they count on your frequency coming to the gym to be the reminder of when you need to be in the gym, that they might not make any money and not be in business by the next time you get back. Go to your gym every month. Now, your tax situation, by the way, put this in your notes. If you started the business last year, your tax situation changes every year in terms of income tax, right? MoneyMax is amazing because it lets you have access to tax experts. How many of you know if you make an extra $50,000 this year, your tax situation is different than it was last year?
Mm-hmm.
And what do they do? They said you made more, they want more of it. There's two things that we do. Instant pay raise, by the way, is an entry strategy. Does everybody understand?
Yes.
Yes.
It's just the first time we get access to the experts to go in and make the adjustment to our income, gives us the pay raise testimonies. But I tell you right here and now, I want to wait, let's be looking in your eyeballs. The biggest advantage you get from owning a business comes at the end of year one. It doesn't matter how much money you got. I mean, think about this. I got a pay raise that was like $1,200. TaxBot is helping me write off $67,000. I just wanted to see. I mean, you gotta know what your toys are. So the instant pay raise part, the good news about it is instant and it's fast. You submit your documents. You got this upload center down here. You upload your pay stub, wife's pay stub, and the other information from your earnings from the year before. They send back the W-4. You turn it in. It's easy. The step two, though, the way that we win on a daily basis is understanding and keeping track of our business deductions with TaxBot. Put this in your notes. TaxBot, once you get it going, it is so liberating because now all the things you can deduct, it's easy to keep track of them. You set it up right here in your back office. You can do it either through the automated system right here. If you click get started.
Hello, and congratulations.
Step by step. Yeah, how many of you know I've clicked that button before? So I know she starts talking and you click. But step one, you do want to activate and enroll in TaxBot on your website. The app lives on your phone. Understand, TaxBot, if you go and sign up for it on the App Store, they'll set you up for a 30-day free trial. At the end of that 30-day free trial, they're going to ask you for $99 a month. The TaxBot app itself is included as a part of your MWR membership if you're a member of MWR. If you're just in the general public, it's the best tax assistant I've seen, but you got to pay for it. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Now, how many of you would want to have something that helps you to the tune of $99 a month while writing off things that you do? Now, once you set up TaxBot inside of the system, because you can monitor your tax deductions and situation from TaxBot. Now, here's something cool. You have access to the system both on and offline. So whether you're in your phone or on your computer, you can see what you have online. Now, in this case, I've set up a couple of businesses, but how many of you would love to know that already at the end of January, I've already accumulated $6,000 of things that I can deduct based on things here. Now, what's in that? Some things, some repairs for the house, some things for, some trips that still need to be classified, mortgage appraisal, margaritas and tacos with Sean Hill on yesterday. All of those things go in TaxBot. How do you use it? Once you get it installed, well, we'll schedule a time where I'll actually play around with my phone. Make sure you turn on automatic mileage tracking enable, right? You install the app, you go to the App Store or the Google Play Store, get TaxBot and log in with the ID that you created in your MWR website. Am I making sense?
Yes.
Now, every time you drive, I get in the car, I get a little buzz that says TaxBot is tracking your trip because mileage is tax deductible. In 2020, mileage was tax deductible 55.5 cents per mile. And what places do you drive that are tax deductible? Well, everybody at Los Charros has been asked, have you heard of income shifting? But make sure it gives you the process of knowing you're in business. Say that to yourself. Everybody take a minute. Let's make sure that we say that. I'm in business.
I'm in business.
I'm in business.
And when I go out, I be about my business. So is this a business trip? Hell yeah.
Yes.
All the time. All the time. So that you're always in business ownership mode. Business owners get tax breaks. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes.
Next thing, and then just make a good point of capturing your receipts. A couple of things that I have as tricks of the trade. While I'm signing the receipt for the tip, I take a picture of it right then versus what used to be my habit was accumulating the paper and the stress. Now you can fix it and forget it. You label who it is, what it's about, what it's for, and now you're in IRS approved format. You're so much more prepared and you can focus on business. Make sense?
Yes.
Yes.
So now we've done the two things. We attacked the two biggest enemies up front, the debt and interest payments, which you can control and gives you the large hit. Second, we got whatever money we could get you back from your job. But most importantly, we put you in a position where you can be good to yourself in taking advantage of the deductions that are available to you so that you minimize your income tax hit. That make sense?
Yes.
Third, we go to work on credit. Now, here's the thing. Your credit picture adjusts how often? Who has a guess?
Every 30 days.
30 days.
Every 30 days. Good. Somebody has been paying attention to this process. Every 30 days, you have what we call the credit reporting periods for your bills. Now, I won't go into details of everything about how credit works, but here's what I do want to make sure that we do. When it comes to credit, understand that there are 4 elements to the credit restoration system that make it different than just credit repair. Meaning, if you think about it, there's credit reporting and scoring, credit restoration, credit rebuilding, and credit counseling. For most people, about 80, I take it back. For 95% of the people that I've run into, all they needed was credit reports and scoring and restoration. Meaning, if you click this button, now I know, let me make sure I make this recording available for new people. This paragraph says that you can obtain a free copy of your reports and scores without scores and updates, and they can do the process with restoration starting from there. But MWR recommends the Smart Credit service. Let me say up front, there's 2 options for Smart Credit. I clicked the button when I got started just to know, well, why does MWR recommend Smart Credit? Well, it turns out I got smarter about credit because of Smart Credit. Because once you log into the system, I'll show you mine. There's $14 or $19 a month extra in terms of the scoring capability. But for me, for my credit, it gave me the ability to know that I was getting the best I could for what I had with credit. Because in addition to the reports and scores, you get tools that help you track, build, and master your score. I like to divide up these tools in 3 categories. Understand the secret to this, I tell people all front, if you don't know the score, you can't win the game. But with Score Tracker, it actually gave me the opportunity to know my starting point. So back in December, I was here in the mid 7s. Over time, they did some things for me, got me up to an 810. 810 was when I refinanced the mortgage on this house. When you refinance or when you finance anything, it triggers what's called a hard inquiry. Does everybody know what that means? It means you ask somebody for money and you meant it. That's what a hard inquiry is. Hard inquiry, your score is going to take a hit. So my score dropped down to here, but then the next month they had me back up to 810. We went on vacation. We bought another vacation property and a car. Score got down here to the 7s, and then they got me back up to 810, right? Everybody see where the chart goes? So it gives you an opportunity to track and keep score, and then the team will work on the things that they can do. Now, what do we talk about? Couple of things that the average person doesn't know. When I say Credit Smart makes you smarter, before Smart Credit, I didn't know that there was a difference in how they calculated the overall credit score versus my auto score versus my insurance score. But what I have found out is that my homeowner's insurance and my auto insurance have gone down by $300 on the auto insurance since my credit got over 800. Who knew? Now, I also got all the 20 years off my insurance. That will also help tremendously. And then your hiring index, because credit does affect score. So as you learn and monitor, that helps you grow. Second thing is Score Builder. Now, Score Builder, unfortunately, well, not fortunately, fortunately, they've done everything that they can do in terms of removing negatives from my accounts. Does that make sense? But what it does is it actually looks at your credit report and says, here are the things holding your score down. And here are the things that the repair process can start working on removing for you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Now, I'll go to another example so that you see the process. But the last part is Score Master. Score Master tells you what you can do to master your score. So it says that right now, based on what I have in revolving trade lines, that's credit cards, I can increase my credit score by another point by paying off the balance, which I'm going to do. That's just how that works, right? But that way I know what my score is and my score health. There are other the main most important thing that I get from Smart Credit is every 30 days, I get to know what's happened on my credit report. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I can click here for my 3 bureau report and score. Now, again, mine is going to be up. Ironically, it's right around the 5th that mine comes available again, but gives me my credit report, which I can then print. I do this right here, print and save as PDF. This is how you download your credit report and upload it. I just want to get that question out of the way up front. I save it to my Smart Credit folder so that I have a record of everything that I have downloaded and uploaded to Smart Credit. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Once it's there, and let's see, not that one. I name it, give it a place to be, and then I have it available for both of me to look at. Now, by the way, for those of you that think I read my credit report all the time, I do not. It's boring. Most of it is stuff that already happened. You got, people always be talking about old stuff. But the last feature of Creditmax is these two things at the end that most people aren't aware of. I didn't know it was going to be here, but I'm glad that it is. There is fraud insurance, meaning there's $1 million identity theft protection insurance included in what you pay for Smart Credit. It covers the whole family, not just the married couple, because and then the other thing is it generates alerts. Now, here's a cool thing that happened. When we brought the property in Dominican Republic, while we were there, sitting at the table, it said, hey, a new trade line just opened with your name on it. Is this fraud? Are you really in Dominican Republic? Now, just so happened I really was there, but it gives you alerts that you can trigger to connect to your phone or your email, and then you have access to a team of people that can help. Any questions about Smart Credit? None. No, I mean, matter of fact, I didn't make room for questions for Smart Credit. Let's go back and talk about what we do with the report. The last and most important thing that you can do is engage the Smart Credit process. 2 parts. When you get started, your first entry, you need to update your vital statistics, meaning if you click this Creditmax profile, you'll update name, address, social, and other details about yourself. And then you need to upload your driver's license and your first 3 bureau credit report. So there's our story. We started right here at the beginning in December. And then anytime, here's the expectation. When our team goes to work attacking the negatives, the credit bureaus are going to start sending things back to you. So our first letters went out. We got some letters back from TransUnion and from Experian and Equifax. When those come in, you know what I do? The first time I tried to read them, I didn't know what they said. I clicked this button right here to ask the experts. There's a chat feature installed in your membership where you can ask a question about what happens. They say, oh, you're not supposed to do anything with that. Scan it, send it to us. We'll take care of it. Does that make sense? Make sure you've hired experts, ask them questions. As you go through the process, every 30 days, I just update anything that the creditors send. I send it to them. They take care of it. How many of you love just the idea? There's 2 places now where they fix it and I forget it. In TaxBot, once I've got it uploaded, it's uploaded. I finally have the things that mama asked for when it's time for us to do tax preparation because of process. The repair process, they go through. You send the documents, they do it. Smart credit lets you monitor it and gives you frequent updates on when it's happening. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
So we talked about EquityMax first. MoneyMax, Creditmax. Understand, EquityMax and Smart Credit give you something to just check in on 30 days. I don't suggest you just look at your credit score all day. Just every 30 days, see where you are relative to your plan. Make sense?
Mhm.
Yes. it
And
does.
all of this gives us the opportunity to create margin in our lives, because now we get to one of the most important maxes. Even if you decide not to invest, the WealthMax questionnaire is the actual game plan for wealth. How many of you have done the WealthMax, just click the buttons to schedule an appointment? Well, matter of fact, let me pause. How many of you actually scheduled your WealthMax consultation, talked to a financial advisor, and they showed you things about your money that you would not expect? Okay, just in personal point of fact, actually, the first investment suggestion that I got from WealthMax wasn't to do a PRA. It was like, dude, you should really refinance this house. Your credit is too good for you to be paying this much in interest. And that saved an extra $700, gave me more margin, but also accelerated my debt payoff strategy. So let's talk about WealthMax, and I'll let you click the button for yourself so that you know where it is. But when it comes to WealthMax, if our goal is to create wealth, a part of the strategy has got to be figuring out how we can start putting money to work. Don't be afraid. You're a business owner. Don't be afraid to click on the buttons that are here for you, not necessarily for what's up here, but for what's down here, because it builds for you what Rich Dad, Poor Dad called a cash flow statement. How many of you read Robert Kiyosaki's book, Cash Flow Quadrant, or Rich Dad, Poor Dad? Well, that's what we're building, so you can actually take the time, understand what you have coming in, what you have coming out, your total in debts, focus on your emergency fund and other money available, not so that they have the picture, but you have the picture, and know that our job in creating wealth and maxing out the maxes is continuing to transform that picture, continuing to transform. This is what's coming in, this is what's going out, this is what I owe, and this is what I own. And when what I own pays for my lifestyle, we've made wealth real. Does that make sense? So
Yeah.
goal one, day one, debt-free millionaire. Everybody with me? EquityMax. Here's the mentality. Think, Sean, your goal with Project 100 is to create a team of 100 people that help 100 people become debt-free millionaires, right? Imagine this. 100 times 100 is 10,000. 10,000 times a million is $10 billion. See, when we create a community of people that have come together, have gone through, everybody is a before picture right now. But if your after picture has you as the leader of a team where you're a debt-free millionaire, you're your own bank, and you're in a community of bankers, we get to change the world that way. We get to ask different questions, because now we're not asking what can we do about housing or education or healthcare. 10 billion strong, we get to ask what can't we do.
Right.
Make sense? So with
Yeah.
that said, let me pause my recording on maxing the maxes. Did I get you everything you need? Order of operation day one, if you're new, get on the scale, get EquityMax taken care of. It doesn't take more than an hour. Matter of fact, it should take 30 minutes or less, especially the way that things work these days. Do your MoneyMax, Creditmax, and every 30 days, your job is simple. Just check in with the experts to make sure you're on track to max out the maxes. And then the best accelerator, in between times, you tell people about what you're excited about that you've done, what you're doing, and that way you can increase your margin every day, because extra money gets added to the margin as well, yes?
Yes.
Yes.
And so those debt payoff dates get stronger, they get faster. Your store will always be better the more time you spend in the gym, eating the right food, doing the right work, and running with the people that are doing the right thing. That's how we get together. That's how we win. So let me pause and make sure to leave a few minutes.